Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Everyday Excellence. I'm your host, Todd Baldwin, and today we have Mike Harvey, the owner of SkyVantage, powered by the Roof Resource. How are you doing, Mike?
Fantastic, Todd. Thank you for having me.
But on, I was looking forward to visiting with you because you guys are doing some revolutionary things, I believe, in the roofing industry. So excited for our audience to hear a little bit about what you're doing and why it's different in this industry. So before we jump into all that, though, Mike, tell us a little bit about SkyVantage, powered by the Roof Resource, right? How many years you been in business and what areas do you guys serve?
We have been in business since December of 2020, so 2020. Had my first customer in March 5th of 21. And we are now in 12 states, I believe.
Okay, 12 states, awesome. So, and I know we talked, but you're adding territory quickly, right?
Yeah, we're in 12 states, but we could be in multiple markets in every state, and we're currently licensing nationwide. And we typically are probably bringing on 1 to 2 different states per month. So we'll be in, I want to say, probably about 25 states by the end of this year.
Okay, wow, some good, very rapid growth there. So, before we dive into kind of what's going on today, I'd love to hear your story, kind of your entrepreneurial journey, because I know you said you never thought you would be in the roofing business, but here you are. So tell us a little bit about your
Yeah.
past and then, what made you take a leap of faith, I say, that entrepreneurial leap off the cliff, right? To run your own
Yeah.
business.
So I enjoyed a great corporate career, worked for some great companies. The last I was in the telecom industry, got to work with and be side by side with some incredibly smart people, great leaders who taught me the value and the importance of the customer experience and the customer journey. I learned so much from them. And as my corporate career was coming to an end, I thought, hey, I'm going to get into consulting and kind of take the consulting path, and opened up my consulting company. And someone said, "Hey, do you want to get into roofing?" And I said, "Whoa, no, thank you. Roofing is not my cup of tea. I'm afraid of heights. I don't know anything about roofing." But he had said that, "Hey, Mike, your history, with where I was at, was scaling sales systems and processes and uniform systems throughout multiple markets," and said, "We could do this over here because roofing is, it's never changed." And so I was like, you know what? I took some time, and I always would, coach others and say, "Hey, you have to get uncomfortable to grow." Right? We've heard that many, many times now. So I took my own advice, and in about 3 weeks, so we partnered. In about 3 weeks, we made $186,000 in 3 weeks. So I thought this was like, wow, this is like crazy simple. And over the next 9 months, we grossed $1 million, just the two of us. But that was the point, Todd, where I was just saying, if I'm going to stay in roofing, I just don't feel good with the experience that I'm having taking homeowners through. Homeowners in the roofing industry don't know what they don't know. And that's where I decided, you know what? If I'm going to stay in this industry, how would I want to represent my company to do something good for homeowners? And so I left that partnership and modeled out the Roof Resource then, which is now SkyVantage, powered by the Roof Resource.
Okay, so all right, so here's where, to me, the really interesting part gets, and I know the stories we talked about, but I want the listeners to hear. So, you guys are not a traditional roofing company, right? You're not what a residential homeowner is used to dealing with. And so, tell us a little bit about what makes you guys so unique and what makes you different compared to what I say is your traditional roofer who's going to come out and put a new roof on the house.
Yeah, so with being in the traditional space, and every roofing company today does the same thing. It is getting leads, being on Google, being on Meta, getting leads, going out to appointments, befriending a homeowner, taking them through a sales process. Look at our Google reviews. This is what we're good, better, best. price condition them, start them at a high price, negotiate, make them feel good, knock off 1,000 or $2,000, and man, they feel like they're getting the best deal. That is traditional roofing. When I got into this, I said, I believe I can do it differently, save them time, save them money, do it virtually through a Zoom call. I never meet a homeowner. I never take a dollar of their money. I've set up the processes and systems so that a homeowner gets full transparency. So traditional, they pay one lump sum, 22,000. They have no idea how much money went to the dumpster or the materials or what's actually being purchased for materials for their home. Because most of the time there's used materials that are being used on someone's home, but brand new shingles are being shipped. I provide, and the company provides a transparent process. So the homeowner gets to see every dollar down to the penny for materials, labor, dumpster, permit, and we have a small flat fee that we charge for the whole experience. And when you take that flat fee, materials, labor, dumpster, permit, when you take those and you put them all together, we can be up to 50% less than the retail prices that are out there. And by the way, Todd, we can do this in 30 minutes. And we can have somebody on a Zoom call within 1 hour, and we can share that. And again, we'll share them the roof technology report, where every dollar goes, and then we can have their roof installed in 7 to 10 days.
So turnaround's extremely quick and up to 50% savings, which is huge. Even if it was only 30% or even 25, those are still big numbers because roofs are not cheap, right? And so it's really all about transparency and then being able to quickly get that roof done. If I heard you right.
Yeah, it's the you think about, whenever we want something that's really convenient, as consumers, we typically have to pay more money when things are super convenient. When it's difficult, then you got to do it yourself, and you're going to save money because you have to. It's a different way to do it. But if you want something that's super convenient, I always talk about a Snickers bar. You want to go, you stop into a gas station at a convenience store. You pay $2 for a Snickers when it should only be 75 cents. Why? It's convenient. It's there. I get it. It's fast.
Sure.
With us, it's reverse. You can come to us, doesn't any of the states that we're in 30 minutes, we'll have that proposal ready. You get to see, and sometimes it could be $2,000 less, $4,000 less, whatever those numbers are. But the homeowner gets the best customer experience. They get simplicity, they get ease. They don't have to worry about, I need to sit through 6 to 10 hours of my life with all these different people coming to my home, and who are they? And
Yeah.
they don't trust them, right? And that's where we've said, if you have to negotiate a price, it was never honest.
That's a great point. I like that. I like that a lot. So I'm curious, you have this vision that I'm going to disrupt the roofing industry, right? So how many naysayers did you run across saying, "Hey, Mike, this will never work"?
In the first couple of years, I would say in the first 2, 3 years, and I still get it well, today, more or less now, it's different, but that first year, I did 94 customers in 8 months out of my house. I had
Wow.
94
Okay.
customers through the Zoom, right? I probably lost another 100, and you wanna know why, Todd? They were like, "Mike, your price is too low." You're $7,000 less than the lowest guy, or they're using the big names in every market, and they're $25,000 and I'm at 12. And they're like, "Wait a minute, something's wrong." And that's
Too good
that
to be
message,
true.
too good to be true. And the message continued to be, no, that's just how much profit they're making off of you. And homeowners are slowly starting to wake up, but we still see, people thinking that it's too good to be true. I received a lot of, I would say, not favorable messages through Meta in the very first couple of years of, why are you doing this? And, you're taking food off my family's table, and, you know, things that, are sad to hear. But at the end of the day, I look at our homeowners. and I see the smiles that we bring to them and the amount of money that we put back into their pocketbooks, you know?
Yeah, that's gotta feel really good too. I'm curious, so as you transition through that first year, was there a defining moment that you knew, "Hey, this was the right move"?
Yeah, it was in the fall. It was in the fall of 21 where I was getting customers like yourself, Todd, who would call me back up and say, "Thank you. This is a great experience. I learned a lot." And they said, "What are you going to do with this?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And they're like, "Well, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to like, can I buy the west side of Michigan? Can I use what you're doing?" And I never had thought about scaling and never thought about doing I just wanted to do what was right for homeowners, right? And I wanted to do this new cool way. And that's where I started to get more people calling me back and saying, "Hey, you know, I heard about you." And someone called me from Houston, Texas, and they said, "Hey, I heard about you. Can I buy your platform and do it for flooring?" And that's really when I said, "Hey, you know what? Maybe I need to look into this a little bit more." And by the end of that year, I went and met with the CEO, Mark Siebert of iFranchise Group, and he had just said, "Hey," he goes, "in the next 5 years, if people don't change over to your platform in residential roofing, they'll be out of business because if you grow that much, you'll put them out of business." And so that was the moment where I knew that I could do something bigger.
This is gonna work. I like it, and you're helping people, so I think that's extremely rewarding. I'm curious, what lessons from your previous corporate life has helped you most in running this business?
The number one thing has been culture. It's the people. I would say I had some not so favorable people around me in the beginning. People that were coming in and just being, "Hey, this is going to be great," and wanted to be part of something big. And I really didn't take the time to really get to know them and who they are. But culture is so very important. And that's what I bring from, the corporate America side. And then it's systems, it's process, it's the customer experience and the customer journey. I've met a lot of, I would say, traditional roofers who are so focused on getting into the roofing business because they can make so much money and they're
Yeah,
chasing the money, and it's not really about the customer experience. And that's the shift I see with some of the new roofing companies who are becoming part of our platform, and they're licensing our model now because they see the value of what we bring to the homeowner.
sure. We've talked a lot about the client or the customer, homeowner. What do you consistently hear from them after they work with you?
The process was fast, it was easy, but thank you so much. They've been able to save the amount of money. There's no more stress. It was easy. But you'll see it on the reviews. It's that, we've saved them 3 grand, 5 grand, 10 grand. I was on my website where, the gentleman, saved so much money, bought his kids a pool. I've had customers take their moms to Hawaii. They've bought cars with the extra money that they were able to save and beautify their home. We've had some customers talk about, because they get to choose from all these different products, that because we're agnostic, they can choose any class 3 roofing system and the price doesn't change. They were able to spend time choosing out the best roof that would look, the best on their home. So,
Sounds like a really cool customer experience. And you mentioned culture. I agree too. It's important. It's huge, right? It's really what makes your company different or unique, and then have success. So, if I was talking to your team, how would your team describe your culture and working there at the Roof Resource?
um, empowered, because we do talk about it, is that everyone is empowered here. And even though that I'm always about the entrepreneur and kind of pick up the sword and go out there and run your own show, internally, I always tell everyone that I pay for their mind and not their time. And
Well, I
so I
like that.
want them to feel like, hey, if they have to go do something, go do it. I don't want them saying, "Hey, can I take 2 days off?" Because no, just go do it. We all know what we're here for. And so it's a culture of empowerment. And you probably know this too, Todd, when you give someone control, that is a level of empowerment that, really lifts them up.
Yeah, no, I agree. We work in the same principles there, right? You know, I let my team. I stay out of their lanes. I'm a digital marketer. I let them do their thing. That's why we hired them, right? And I always tell people, you don't want me running campaigns. Like that's the last person.
Right.
That's not how I'm wired. I don't, and I'm not. I'm a people person. I'm a relationship builder. Those are my strengths. So we try really hard for everybody to be in the seat in something that they really really enjoy doing and have passion about it. And I say all the time, like built thousands of websites, but my favorite website that we build is one that I never see until it goes live. Because if I got involved, we would never get anything live. Because I know me, I'd be like, "Well, what do we do?
Yeah.
What about this? What about that?" So, yeah, let empower your people to go be great, right, and do what it is that they love doing. So, let's talk a little bit about growth because I know you're growing and things are exploding. So, tell me your strategy because you're not relying on paid ads or SEO, Meta, you said for lead gen, which is what, yes, you're right. All these other home service businesses, roofers, they're all heavy in that lead gen space, spending lots of money on marketing. So, what is your strategy for growth? How are you growing into all these states?
So one, we are expanding through licensing because we want to go ahead and have that entrepreneur, have someone empowered in that community that can represent the brand. And one of the things that is important to know that if somebody in Atlanta, Georgia said, "Hey, you know what, I want to get into roofing," it's typically going to take them anywhere from 2 to 3 years to understand roofing, to understand the complexity of roofing, to then build their systems and models and cash flows and trucks and tools and all of that stuff to aggregate all of that together. Where with our platform, we can put your neighbor into the roofing business in 60 days. So, one,
Okay.
that's just incredibly powerful that we can put somebody in the roofing space in 60 days. More importantly, the reason why we decentralize the platform for that local ownership is so that they can then reach out to what we call the trust network. And that is realtors, mortgage agents, insurance agents, the landscapers, the HVAC companies, because our value proposition is so different than every traditional roofing company out there. And I'm not knocking them when they say, "Hey, we want to treat the customer well. We want to clean up your yard, and we really want to give you a good experience." Okay, great. Everyone says that, right? When we talk about the relationship with a realtor, we can let them know when you pull up to that home and you see that the roof is old, you reach out to me directly, and within 30 minutes, I can have a price up to 50% less than retail priced out for you, ready to go, and we can have that roof done in 7 to 10 days. That is a huge arrow in the quiver for a realtor, for a mortgage agent, and for an insurance agent. And when they hear that, Todd, they stop. And when you go to a networking meeting, they stop. When you go to a chamber event, they're like, "Whoa, where have you been?" And so we're we're focused on that trust network rather than the Google or the Meta, which is what I always say, it's great for a source of information, but it's not a source of trust.
Yeah, no, I agree with a lot of that. Trust signals from Google come from really reviews, right? And then, but you got to make sure they're authentic too. I mean, which I think I'm a big believer most are, but there is a big belief, like, if you have 100 5-star reviews and they're all 5 stars, then that there is become where, "Hey, I don't know if I trust all that." How could you have 100 perfect reviews, right? And so, so there can even though you're trying to send a big trust signal, that could sometimes backfire. I heard many
And
times, "It's
you
okay to
may
be
know,
4.8. 4.8 looks better than 5.0, right?"
yeah, and you might know this too, Todd, that there's a lot of service companies out there that'll say, "Hey, we can give you all these reviews." I've received those emails. We don't want that. We don't want fake reviews,
You don't
and
want
we
fake
know that
reviews.
that exists out there, or
Yeah.
the likes, and so we stay away from all of that.
Yeah, yeah. The fake review route, it's not worth the short gain for the potential pain that could come from that. Because
Yeah.
Google does take that serious, and they will delist you and disband your Google business profile if they feel that you were trying to game the system. So, let's talk about these realtors, mortgage agents, these different channels. So that's where your leads are coming from, right?
Yeah, yeah. So we'll get, matter of fact, we got one of our licensees at a big realtor show. He's attending a realtor show as a vendor to continue to share the partnership and what we do for realtors. Because realtors, 25% of the time, the roof is a problem.
Right.
And how do they assess that? And traditional roofing does, they don't want to go out because they have to go out, they measure the roof, it's a 2, 3, 4, 5 day process. And for us, we can provide that data within 30 minutes. And so we build that relationship and we know that we are the only company that's doing that for a realtor. And so we become their partner and we'll get messages, we'll get the text, me personally, I still have clients that will call me up and, Mike, thank you so much. You saved my $1.5 million deal because the roof wasn't 65,000. Your price at 23 helped us close the deal. And in April this year, they're getting the roof. Those are you're you're we're able to help the sale. We're not killing the deal, we're helping the deal. Same thing on the mortgage side when the mortgage is about to be placed on the home, but then the new insurance policy says the roof is over 18 years of age. Replace the roof. We're going to hold up before we put a policy on that mortgage, and we need someone to replace the roof. Who can do it within 30 minutes? Us. We can have it installed in 7 to 10 days.
Yeah. So great lead source, totally different way to skin the cat there, right? Versus spending money on Google or Meta or whatnot. What about the insurance companies? Are you able to penetrate this
Yeah.
platform with them as well?
So we are piloting right now with Farm Bureau and we're
Mhm.
piloting with AAA. And Farm Bureau has been much more aggressive with us on sending us clients. And, when a homeowner has a storm claim or there's hail or there's ice or there's wind or whatever it might be, we've shared our platform with Farm Bureau. I've been up personally up to Lansing, Michigan, and met with all of their adjusters, and they were all blown away because in the insurance world, they deal with what we call Exactinate, and Exactinate is a software that roofing companies have and insurance companies have, and that software says architectural shingle, 15-30 pound felt paper, and it's $18,000 is the base for RCV, which is replacement cost value, right? We come in and we're at 14, we're at 13. We're $5,000 less with a class 3 roofing system than just the basic at 18. So what happens is that the homeowner gets a much better value roofing system. The insurance company pays out less, which that's called reducing their loss ratios, and everybody wins. And so we are continuing just to share the story for USAA and farmers and State Farm to let them know that we don't operate like your traditional roofing companies do because they're the ones always chasing after the storm and wanting to have these high payouts.
Well, yeah, I would think the testing you're doing will be interesting. 'Cause I would think insurance companies would love this platform.
That's what I'm always on LinkedIn and I'm on different, podcasts like yours and sharing that, when I say we can reduce insurance carriers' loss ratios by hundreds of millions of dollars. Our price to the homeowner is the same price to the insurance company, and no traditional roofing company would ever say that. Their price to a homeowner is one, but if it's an insurance payout, oh goodness, now we're going 800, 1,000, $1,200 a square.
Right, right. Well, I know I'm in Texas, and so the roofing business or the roofing um, with the insurance game has changed. It's becoming really, really hard for these insurance companies to claim roofs or get them claimed. And a lot of it, roofers are whining, but I think they were, a big part of the problem because they were gaming the system, right? And they would, and also the insurance companies. I think they're both equally to blame because they would claim the whole roof when really there's just, a little bit of damage, and they're claiming the whole roof. So the roofers are submitting it, knowing, hey,
Right.
doesn't really need a roof and doesn't need a new roof, but if they're willing to pay for it, then hey, let's put a new roof on it. So
Right. And then what happens is that industry now, everyone looks at their policies, and one of our licensees in Austin, Texas, he has seen his insurance policy just go through the roof, no pun intended, because guess what? All those roofs that went on in 22 and 23 and 24, guess what happened to the insurance policies for that? They all went skyrocketing, you
Yeah,
know?
mine's gone up. My deductible's gone up. The percent you said 1%. That doesn't exist anymore. Um, Renewal just came out and went to 2%, which I'm still feel blessed because there's 3 and 4% on there that I've heard. So, but yeah, it's not a good game. I love that you're able to. What resonates most is that you're just able to help the homeowner, right, and save some money and still get a really higher quality roof. Because, like you said, these are grade three versus just builder grade, and that's a huge difference in the durability and lifespan of a roof. And I don't even know anything about roofs, but I know that, right? And
Uh,
plus, you educated me a little bit when we talked
Yeah.
earlier,
Yeah,
as well.
we're able to we not only we go another step further, Todd, is that when a homeowner picks, let's say, for instance, they pick out Certainty Landmark Pro, and it's a full system, we show them a materials list of everything that's brand new shipping to their home. And in the traditional space, most of the time that there's rolls of synthetic or there's other product that's been used, half bundle here, whatever, that comes to the homeowner's house. They don't know that that's stuff that's been left over from other installations. With our homeowners, everything is brand new.
That's a great point. I remember when they did my roof, and I hear the beep, 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 and guy in the tractor trailer's pulling, and they're just unloading all the materials. I had no idea what was in there. I mean, I knew it was for my roof, right? But I didn't get a detailed list. I don't know if it was new, used, but
Most of the
the
time, the shingles are delivered from the building supply. But then if you don't see all the brand new rolls of synthetic underlayment and the brand new box of nails and the step flashing and the wall flashing and the chimney you don't know where this is coming from. And so again, that's just another level of transparency that we share with homeowners, that everything is brand new.
I got it. So, um, other than your website's online, obviously. I liked your website. There's really not any digital marketing that you're doing, or is there?
Yeah, so right now we're going through a complete rebuild, a brand new website, wireframe, because all this new SEO and the Chat GPT, all these new city pages are getting done right now. So what's out there right now is probably like a C minus, I think, at best. But all of that's getting redone. And then we're doing all the SEO pages. So all of that's getting revamped and rebuilt for like Austin and, Panama City Beach and Pittsburgh and Akron, Ohio. All of that organic SEO is getting done. And then there's times where I personally go out on, the news stations and I'm interviewed and we take that and we share that out on all the Facebook pages and the Instagram pages and we have that as a digital support.
Okay, so that makes sense because I know the realtors, all these other channels are great lead source, but in the back of my mind, I was like, well, you still want a
Yeah.
solid organic foundation because you can still there's leads to be had there, right? Without paying for paid ads, right? Because I tell business owners all the time, we're real big believers of what I call real high end, real SEO work, right? And and we do a lot of paid work too, but that SEO solid foundation, you can't beat it, and those are the
Right.
best that come off of Google. So you'll still take that lead. You're happy to take that lead, right? And then I
Oh,
guess
for sure.
yeah. And so are your licensees, the guys that are doing license around like in Austin or whatnot, do they have their own websites or are they all piggybacking off your site?
So they come off of our main website, which is the
Yep.
SEO.
Yep.
And then if they want to, I know that he's a member of the Greater Austin Chamber of Commerce and the backlinks that feed all of that. But he feeds off of that. And then if any licensee wants to do an article in a paper or they want to do a trade show and do those types of things, that's the key is the face and the brand getting out and breaking through the noise. We have a couple of them that have did some Meta Facebook leads, and they've done that, and they've done well with that. That's just something that we say, Todd, that's not the very first thing. What we call in our 90-day playbook
Sure.
for a licensee, we want them to be focused on those chambers, those networking events, and then building those relationships. Because once they're built, and once realtors start using our service, they use it all the time.
Yeah. So you want to make sure they build a good network there. But if they want to do some paid ads or whatnot,
But yeah,
they can do
they
it.
can.
It's on their
Absolutely.
budget, right? They're paying
No,
for it. Yeah,
absolutely.
and then, are they helping pool to pay for the SEO? Because SEO is ongoing. I'm assuming. I mean, you build the site, you build all the metadata, you do everything right on the back end, but then typically there's an ongoing
Yep.
process. So you're going to be doing ongoing SEO, or
And that's us. I mean, it's part of, when they become a licensee, there's a small monthly fee that they pay us, and in that monthly fee, we're constantly doing all the SEO
okay,
for their
but
market.
you do it in house, or do you?
Yes.
Okay,
Well,
you do
no,
it.
we have a service that takes care of it.
Okay, so you have an agency that you work with. Okay.
Yeah.
Any pain points or bad experiences with digital agencies?
Well, I will tell you, yes, and without getting into naming names, I would say that we really had to do a much better job with really vetting out who is going to do what. We in 2025 we partnered up and kind of just, hey, guess what? Big names, big names. Okay, great, wonderful, go do it. And come to find out, it wasn't done correctly. Our website was built wrong. The SEO was built wrong. It was just, oh my God, Todd, I could share with you so many horror stories. You'd be like, oh my goodness.
Well, I've probably heard of all. I always say that because I love hearing what's working, but I like to talk about what's not working. And I'm curious if I hear anything new on the bad front, because really, digital marketing agencies, our business that we're in, our industry has really developed a bad name in the marketplace because um, obviously there's a digital marketing agency on every corner, and you don't know. You could have it could be a one man shop and look like a legitimate big agency, but the problem is so many of these agencies promise the moon, knowing they're never going to deliver what they're promising. They're looking to sell as much as they can, throw it on the wall, hope it sticks for a while, and it just that's why I have so many clients like you have had, or people I talk to have had bad experiences, right? And so everything you said resonates that I've heard in the nightmare story.
Yeah.
So I always
It's
like to ask, 'cause I always say, is there anything different out there or anything that I haven't heard? But
it was
so no, I mean it's
the over promise, under deliver. And something I've tell my team all the time, and it's inspect what you expect.
mhm.
And that is so important when something is happening and we're just kind of letting it roll. And then there's a little bit, hey, did you see this? No, it hasn't happened yet. And then it just got to be one of those like shockers. And so, learn fast, execute better.
No, 100%. Well, hopefully the agency you're with now is with you
Yes.
for you got to use them for years. That's when you know. I mean, that's always been our goal, right? We bring on a new client at a minimum, we want them 18 months, but our goal is to have them for years and years. I mean, we have clients been with us 10 plus years, right? So it's about building partnerships. The clients like that because nobody likes to change agency. It's painful. It sounds like you just went through a change, right? You're using X and now, hey, you had to let them go. You had to go find another one. You start over. You hear a lot of the same things. Hey, we're going to do this and that. I hear that all the time. Hey, Todd, the last agency said that. What makes y'all different? So when I ask that question, a lot of times people will say, "Hey, I know you're in this space, so don't take offense to what I'm about to say." And
Yeah.
then I hear all the nightmares and horror stories. So, well, let's kind of move into wrapping this thing up, Mike. I'm curious, what are you most excited about with your business moving forward into 2026 and beyond?
You know, with our territories, as we license out the territories, once they're gone, they're gone. I'm really excited about what we call the build advantage. And that is where we will take a window companies, real estate companies, HVAC companies, landscape companies, your neighbor, and layer them all in. And so the roofing space will no longer be just your traditional roofer. It'll be the real estate companies and the window companies and the mortgage companies. It'll be all of them that can have our platform, who own customers and can take care of their roof. Never before they could do that. And so to me, that's the really exciting piece, is not only will there be so much more value for our territory owners because there's incentives for them, but it's really being able to take, the mom and pop who live next door, and the traditional way of roofing, they would never do it because they couldn't, but now they can with us. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, no, that sounds really interesting, and just continuing to put more layers out there, right, of how people can use the platform. Um, Question kind of off business, but I always like to ask this: any podcasts out there that you're listening to that you could recommend to our listeners?
Uh, you know, I have to say that I'm a huge, this is funny, but it's called Smartless, and it's with Jason Bateman, Sean Hayes, and Will Arnett. And it's just this three guys getting together and just talking to all different people across the world. I mean, from actors to entrepreneurs, you name it. And it's just great windshield time, I call it.
Yeah, no, no. I'm a big walker, so I try to listen to different things and in different podcasts. And there's sometimes there's too much to choose from. I'm curious too, Mike. Is there a quote that you like that resonates with you? For example, one that I've always liked is one of my favorite ones is the truth requires no memory, right? So my stepmom told me that years and years ago. She was like a second mom to you, but the truth requires no memory, meaning, hey, don't lie. Just always speak the truth and you don't have to remember what you told somebody, right?
Yeah.
Anything that you have a quote or a saying that you like that you could share? I know I put you on the spot.
You know, um, I would have to say that most people have heard me say time and time again, which is inspect what you expect.
Yeah.
And, it resonates in so many pieces of our lives, personal and professional. And, I learned that through my leadership years ago, because when you just think things are going well and you just don't ever have to look at it, and the next thing you know, something goes rogue. And so that has stuck with me. So,
Yeah, you mentioned that earlier, and I like that one. I've started kind of asking this question toward the end because I just want to compile. I just think it'd be fun, kind of compile a list because I'm hearing a lot of things that I'm like, ooh, I like that one. I'm going to start
yeah.
using using that one. So,
One last
thanks.
thing I'll leave you with though, real quick, and it's really fast, and it's something that a friend of mine said to me last year, and he said, "Burn the boat." And when you burn that boat, when you are leaving corporate America and you burn the boat, there's no going back. You're an entrepreneur now. Like you're an entrepreneur. You burn the boat whenever you decide to open up your digital agency. And I love that. And that's something that has constantly resonates because I'm talking to so many people now that are looking to step out of their comfort zone and run their own show. So thought I'd share
Yeah,
a little bit.
it's tough too. It's we may talk about this earlier, but that entrepreneurial clip, right? It's everybody wants to be an entrepreneur until it's time to jump. It's 'cause you look over that edge. It's pretty darn scary. So no, I like that. And if you take the jump, yeah, take the jump and be all in, right? Don't burn the boat. I like that. I like that a lot. One last question for you, because I always like to end on this. There's some young, kid out there, some young Mike Harvey thinking about starting his own business, wants to get in the roofing business. What advice would you give to someone looking to become an entrepreneur and start their own business?
Yeah, I would say hug your fear.
Oh, wow. Okay. Haven't heard that one. I like that. Hug your fear.
Hug your fear because you'll find out that the fear was, hey, that's that uncomfortable part. But when you hug it and you jump in, go for it.
Yeah.
Don't second guess. The mind will play the games, but when you hug your fear, you're all in. Go for it.
Hug your fear. Yeah, see, that's why I use I have this cool little tool I can pull quotes. I can just ask it, tell me the quotes from, this podcast. So that's how I'm compiling that. I like that one. Hug your fear. I'm going to remind that because even though I've been in business over 20 years, I still, have sleepless nights at times. Still kind of wonder, hey, what's going on? So I
Yep.
like that a lot. By so, hey, I appreciate you coming on, man, and sharing your story. I love what you're doing in the roofing industry. I've talked to a lot of roofers in 20 plus years of doing marketing, and what you're doing is definitely revolutionary. So good to you, and good for you, and good for trusting your instinct and just saying, hey, I'm going to be in this game. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to help the homeowner. I'm going to start with them in mind. I love that because I'm a big believer in helping people. So appreciate your time, Mike. Great conversation, and let's stay connected.
You bet. Thank you, Todd. I appreciate this.
You bet. Oh, real quick, Mike. I want to make sure if someone's looking for you and wants to get in touch with you, how can they reach out to you? And then how can they find the roof resource?
Yep. So you can go to skyvantage.com, theroofresource.com, or, shoot me an email at Mike at SkyVantage with an E, SKYE Vantage.com.
Great. All right. Thank you so much, Mike.
All right. Thanks.